bonjour, voici vidéo 6F, l'accord du participe passé. As we talked about in class, this basically means that the past participle in the passé composé form will agree with a preceding direct object. And that preceding direct object could be a le, la, or les. If it comes before the past participle form, then that past participle has to agree with that preceding direct object. Now let's talk a little bit about how does it agree. Well, if the pronoun is le and masculine, there is no agreement. But if their pronoun is la, then the agreement is going to be an e added on to the end of the past participle. And if it's plural, it's going to be either s for masculine plural or es for feminine plural added on to the end of the past participle. So let's look at the examples in your book to get a good idea of what we're talking about here. Nous sommes à la page 97. And we're going to look at the middle section here, because when verbs are conjugated with être, the past participle agrees with the subject, and you won't have this situation. If the verb is an être verb, there will never be a direct object. So you don't have this issue with être verbs. This is only with avoir verbs in the passé composé. So with the passé composé of verbs conjugated with avoir, the past participle agrees in number and gender with a preceding direct object. Let's look at our examples. Avez-vous lu le journal? We're going to replace le journal with le. We put it in front of the avant in the answer there. And lu is our past participle. Oui, nous l'avons lu. Since le journal is masculine, there is no agreement on that lu past participle. But look at the next example. Claude a perdu ses livres. Claude lost his books. No, he did not lose them. No, il ne les a pas perdus. The S on the end of perdu signifies that. That les, of course, is plural, and that shows that it's plural on the end of perdu. You don't hear it, it doesn't sound any different when you speak, but it has to be there. Let's look at an example with feminine. La berger a-t-il retrouvé sa brebis? Did the shepherd find his sheep? Oui, il l'a retrouvé. Yes, he found it. So we've got sa brebis, that's feminine. It's in front of a retrouvé. So retrouvé has an extra E on the end. Again, we don't hear that, but it is there. And let's look at a plural example. Catherine a acheté les chaussures, n'est-ce pas? Catherine bought some shoes, right? No, elle ne les a pas achetées. No, she didn't buy them. Les in this case is feminine and plural. I can tell that because acheté has both an E and an S on that past participle. Okay, let's make the point here that the past participle never agrees with a preceding indirect object. You'll never have agreement with lui. You'll never have agreement with leur. For that matter, you'll never have agreement with en or e. Only le, la, les, only the direct object pronouns show agreement. All right, in certain cases, the past participle the pronunciation will change on the past participle when we get these e's and es's as agreement on there. And we'll see some examples of that in the exercise that we do. So I guess I want to say for the most part, you will not hear that these past participles have shown agreement. They'll be there in writing, but not necessarily in speaking. But there are a few examples. When that past participle ends with a consonant, and then we add the agreement of an E or an ES, it will make that consonant pronounce. So if that sounds abstract, I'll show you an example here in our exercise in just a minute, and you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. I had planned to have you complete exercise N, but those are all using the same verb, and I would really like you to use some different verbs. So we're going to instead do the exercise on the next page, exercice O, Quelle honte, Benoît. That's on page 98, exercise O. What a shame, Benoît. And the idea here is Laurence est studieuse, mais son frère ne l'est pas. Dites ce que Benoît n'a pas fait et ce que Laurence a fait. So Lawrence is studious, but his brother isn't. Say what Benoît doesn't do and what Lawrence does do. All right, modèle. Laurence a étudié la leçon. So we replace la leçon with L apostrophe, and we get Benoît ne l'a pas étudié, and étudier has an extra E because la leçon is feminine. Let's look at numéro 1. Laurence a préparé son sac d'école. Lawrence prepared his school bag. So son sac d'école gets replaced with le, and we get, oh, I'm sorry, remember that we have to change this to the negative as well, and we're going to use Benoît as the subject, no, not Laurence. So we get Benoît doesn't prepare his, or doesn't prepare it. All right, so we've got, I'm just going to use a B. Benoît ne l'a pas préparé. Son sac is masculine, so we don't have to worry about agreement. Benoît doesn't prepare it. Numéro 2. Laurence a écouté la radio. We want to say Benoît didn't listen to it. La radio is la. It's in front of a vowel though, so we get L apostrophe. It is feminine, so we get Benoît ne l'a pas écouté. And we're going to add an extra E because this is feminine for la radio. Numéro 3. Laurence a lu le journal. We want to say Benoît didn't read it. Le journal will be replaced by le, obviously, so we get Benoît ne l'a pas lu. Journal is masculine. We don't need to show any agreement with that past participle. Numéro 4. Laurence a fait la vaisselle. Lawrence did the dishes. Benoît did not do them. La vaisselle, obviously feminine. Benoît ne l'a pas. We have to add that E because this is feminine, and here is an example where adding an E, making agreement with the past participle, changes the pronunciation. Normally this would be fait in the past participle, right? You saw that. Laurence a fait la vaisselle, but with that E on there, that T pronounces. Benoît ne l'a pas faite. So we hear that agreement. We know it's there because we heard that T being pronounced. There's another example on number 5, numéro 5. Laurence a fait les courses. Les courses is to run errands, so we want to say Benoît did not run them, or didn't run any, I guess, is what we might say. Well, what would we say in English? He didn't run any errands. We wouldn't really replace it, would we? Here's one of those crazy examples where the translation doesn't exactly work out very well, French to English. But in French, it's just fine. Les courses is feminine and plural, so we need Benoît ne les a pas faites. Faites with E and S, so we hear that T because this is feminine and plural. Okay, and the last one, Laurence a fait ses exercices. We want to say Benoît did not do his exercises. He did not do them. Les exercices is masculine and plural. So we're not going to have to worry about pronunciation change, but we do still have to add the S. So we'll get Benoît ne les a pas fait. Whoops, running out of room there. So just the plural S will not change that past participle pronunciation. It's only when we have an ES or an E that that consonant gets pronounced. Benoît ne les a pas fait. Okay? That concludes this audio segment. Au revoir.